Welcome everybody to Ridiculously Raw, the most musty show on YouTube today. Hello friends, your ridiculously over good brother Anthony Floyo, alongside MF, and alongside the Twisted Angel Didi Woodson. Ladies and gentlemen, we got an unbelievable show for you here tonight. I mean, the go home show for this weekend Super Showdown in Melbourne, Australia. Oh my goodness. Unbelievable. That's all I can say on that. I mean, we've been looking for that for that great effort from Monday Night Raw, to counteract SmackDown Live's dominance. Maybe not the greatest show, but boy howdy, we really brought it here tonight. Yes, there were cutouts, of course. We started hot, we ended hot. Oh, we ended red hot. So nothing more to say. Let's just dive right on into it. Monday Night Raw was live tonight at the Key Arena in Seattle, Washington, exclusively on the USA Network. And we started it off with an in-ring segment. My girl, Charlie Caruso, looking incredible, as usual. Her guest, Dean Ambrose. And it basically went over all the tension over the last week, where we all remember Dolph Ziggler, Braun Strowman, and Drew McIntyre were planting seeds and putting words in the mouth of Dean Ambrose, saying, the whole thing about the Shield doesn't need him and that they're using him to stay on top because Rollins and Reigns are champions and Ambrose is not. And then Baron Corbin came out and gave Dean Ambrose a few options. He says, you can face Seth Rollins for the Intercontinental title, you can face Roman Reigns for the Universal title, or you can face Braun Strowman. Dean Ambrose says, Dean Ambrose then went on to say, I want to face you right here and now. But Corbin says, I'll make the decision for you. You're going to face Braun Strowman right now. Okay. Segment was the second best. I like that they're continuing to tease the possibility of Ambrose turning on the Shield going into Super Showdown, and it gives the six-man tag match a hook. The choices were actually interesting until Baron Corbin, made the call for Ambrose in typical Constable fashion. And then we had the match with Braun Strowman and Dean Ambrose. Braun Strowman wins via disqualification, 13 minutes and 55 seconds. I could give this about 2.5 to 3. I mean, it was fine for what it was, and it was interesting that they protected Ambrose by having the Shield save him here. I wonder if they would have made the same decision had he not put over McIntyre recently. Raw is all about these six-man and Ronda Rousey, and they are cruising through the singles matches between the Shield and the Dogs of War. And that's exactly what we're going to get later on. Because then it was announced that Roman Reigns would face Dolph Ziggler, and Seth Rollins would face Drew McIntyre. So a lot to get into here. But like I said, second best segment for me and the match. I would probably say maybe third best, I would probably say. So give that about 2.5 to 3. So I'm just gonna park it here. So MF, come on in. Great way to start off the show. Storyline progression, something SmackDown Live is normally known for, but we actually had some of that on Raw here tonight, especially with that opening segment.
It's a solid way to start Monday Night Raw, no doubt about it. And yeah, storyline progression, well done. Maybe a planting of the seeds of maybe a Shield breakup, even though Dean Ambrose was put really in an uncomfortable position. They're really trying to give that feel or the look that there's an imminent breakup, or that Dean is thinking about turning his back on the crew. Of course, everybody knows about a week ago or a couple of weeks ago, the way McIntyre and Dolph Ziggler were really trying to plant the seeds on Ambrose, trying to get him to flip. And, Dean is loyal to the end, maybe for a fault, maybe for, because it's the brotherhood of the Shield. But at the end of the day, you had an opportunity to possibly fight for the Intercontinental or the Universal title here tonight. And Ambrose said, "No, I want something else. I'll fight you instead, Corbin, if you want." He is loyal to the end, is Dean Ambrose, and that's something that needs to be addressed and taken up. I know any other person probably would have taken the opportunity and fight for the Intercontinental or Universal title. Loyalty can get you very far in the world, but and I know that's something I know Anthony would definitely was very impressed with. I know that's something Michael Bullock would be very pleased with. I am very impressed with that at Ambrose. Didn't bite on the bait and go after the belt, because let me tell you, the lure of championships could easily could have gone wrong on so many levels if it could. But no. So props to Ambrose for not turning on his brothers, and because he easily could have taken the title fight, served on the silver platter, man, but he didn't go. So, and then as far as the fight goes, yeah, solid match, no doubt about it. Everybody, served their purpose really well. So nothing more to say. Didi Woodson, come on in. It's all yours, my love.
Yeah, I pretty much agree. Second best segment of the night. It was very much storyline progression. Definitely continued from last week. And so far we're seeing up, to this point that Dean is sticking with his brothers. So not much more I'm going to say about it. Florio, yours.
Second fight of the night. And we loaded this show up, like I said. You could have put this like later in the night, but no, they knocked this out right away. Universal Champion Roman Reigns versus Dolph Ziggler, non-title match. They at first teased that it was going to be a championship match because the referee was asking Roman for the belt, and Roman was a little apprehensive at first, but he's like, all right. And referee Sean Bennett showed off the hardware, the Universal Championship, and but Baron Corbin comes out and says, no. This is not a title match. Roman, you're not going to defend the title until next month in Saudi Arabia for the Crown Jewel event on November 2nd, when you defend against Braun Strowman and Brock Lesnar in the triple threat match. But nonetheless, it was Roman Reigns, Dolph Ziggler non-title match. Roman Reigns picks up the win, 12 minutes, 40 seconds. MF, I mean, I don't get it. I mean, a heel authority figure abusing his power deliberately. He easily could have had Roman defend the title here, but you're actually gonna have him hold off until the next month. What gives?
Yeah, because they're trying to protect the Saudi Arabia show. Because the king of Saudi Arabia put $20 million of his own money for this WWE show called Crown Jewel. Obviously, you want to keep the title fight protected at all costs, no matter what the situation is. So it's a logistical thing. It's a money thing. Even though it stinks that we're not going to see the Universal title basically be defended for the next month or so, but that's the way it needs to be done. They want to make this the biggest and best ever in Saudi Arabia. Why do you put the peril or the danger of possibly the Universal title being off the table? I mean, if you remember, at the Greatest Royal Rumble, all the belts were on the line. Every title was on the line, except for the women's title, because in Saudi Arabia, there's a law that's there that women are not allowed to compete, which is unfair. I think we could all disagree and yell and say that's BS, but this is Saudi Arabia, not the United States of America. Totally different laws, totally different. Buy things. That's their culture. That's what they believe in. That's what they do. We can't argue that. That's a whole different discussion for a whole different day. And we could get into rants and whatnot on another time and another place. But I get why Baron Corbin did it. And I'll bet you anything, this is probably from Stephanie McMahon herself, that this belt needs to be protected regardless of the situation. Even though Dolph Ziggler maybe is deserving of an opportunity at the Universal title, but I get why they're doing this. So the match happens. Solid fight. Great match, actually. 2.5 to 3 stars. But Roman wins at the end of the day. That's the momentum that you need. Roman to successfully defend, to win the match, keep the momentum going for that crown jewel event, because he's going to have a mega fight in his hands, because he's got Braun Strowman and Brock Lesnar to be at that show. So now what happens? We'll wait and see what happens now. But I know a lot of people were a little upset, but in this instant, I'm not going to argue. I'm not going to be really angry with it, because for Ziggler, if Ziggler would have won the fight, then he gets a title shot. There's no way that Corbin can say, oh, we can't. No, because Ziggler would say, hey, I just beat the Universal Champion. I deserve an opportunity. I don't care if I gotta wait till Crown Jewel, or if I need to wait till Crown Jewel, make it a fatal 4-way, or put it on Monday Night Raw next week. I don't care. I get my shot. Ziggler falls back now. He goes into the back of the line. No title shot for you, son. I'm not as angry as you guys are about it. I understand it, because I know there's more at play. It's not just a WWE thing. It's because of the fact that, like I said, 20 mil. That's a lot of zeros on the end of that. That WWE is going to be banking on with this show. So, Didi Woodson, it's all yours.
Yeah, I'm going to give the match probably 2 3/4 to 3 stars. It was a good match. I kind of expected it to be non-title. So not much more I'm going to say on it. Florio, it's yours.
3 to 3 1/4. I mean, teetering on 3.5. I mean, good near falls here. I mean, it was a very good match, and the live crowd enjoyed it. Even so, it was kind of a little formulaic to me, in that you knew there was no chance of Ziggler winning an even match with Roman. I still can't get over the idea that the heel GM is punishing Roman by making sure he'll be the champion for the next month. And don't expect a storyline twist of Constable Corbin stripping Reigns of the title due to the infamous 30-day rule, like Didi Woodson has brought up in the past, since they never even enforce it anymore. So, I don't know. But nonetheless, 3 to 3 1/4, I would say. So, moving on, another one of the big matches of the night. Like I said, they really pushed it out here tonight. Ronda Rousey 1-on-1 with Ruby Riott. New looks. I mean, you notice Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan was actually out there. I guess what happened last week at the hands of Brie Bella didn't affect her at all. Good for her. And dyed her hair pink. And Ruby Riott looks like she's got a new hair color. Looks like she dyed her hair red. I think that's going to make MF very happy, man, because I know how much MF loves his redheads. So we'll get into that another day. But for right now, Ronda Rousey wins the match, 6 minutes and 50 seconds with, of course, her her infamous armbar, which has won her numerous matches, not just in WWE, but in UFC as well. So nothing more to say here. Edie Woodson, I mean, one of the big matches of the night. Only fitting you started off. You are our women's expert after all. So nice little tune-up for that big 6 woman coming up at Super Showdown with the Riot Squad against Ronda and the Bellas.
Definitely. This was definitely a match that is leading up to that, and definitely another one of the little storyline progressions with the Riot Squad and Ronda and the Bellas. Yeah, even the little promo that the Riot Squad did, right before the match, that was very storyline progressive. It was very, very well done. I'm going to give the match 2 3/4 of a star. It was, Riot did come out there and she showed some of her strengths, but of course, Ronda, they can't let her lose yet, so she has to go into Evolution with the title. So not much more I'm going to say about it. I'm going to toss it to you.
I'll give this about 2 to 2.5. I mean, Ronda's been very dominant in her matches prior to this one, so it was nice to see. It was refreshing to see. Ruby gets to to have Ruby Riott push Ronda to the limit here. I mean, but I wasn't a fan of the finish though. I mean, Rousey's plowing through her opponents, and there's just no reason why this couldn't have been. I would have been okay with a DQ finish here, even though it's getting old. But and you could save the singles rematch for a later date. But commentary didn't do the match any favors, especially Michael Cole. Rather than give us a big fight call and marvel over Riot's performance, Cole was plugging upcoming segments and Super Showdown. But in fairness, he did put over Riot, but he also questioned what a win for Ruby Riott would do for the Riot Squad heading into Saturday. I mean, nobody really cares about that. I mean, Rousey's first loss would have far bigger ramifications than affecting a meaningless 6-woman tag match. But other than that little nitpick, I mean, it was solid for what it was. And like I said, I'm glad that they gave Ruby, a chance to, actually push Ronda to the limit. But that didn't. But the outcome was never in doubt. We all knew Ronda was going to win. So, red hair or not, it was the same result. So. And I fully expect more of the same this weekend at Super Showdown. So nothing really more to say here. 2.5. That's the best I can go. So MF, your thoughts on Ronda Rousey and Ruby Riott here?
I'm gonna say 2.25. It was a good match. It was a solid fight, and it just served its purpose. Ronda is dominating right now. I think there's really nothing more to say at this point. It could have been better, but like I said, I'm not gonna make too much of a big deal about it. Just congratulations, Ronda Rousey, and Anthony. Let's move on.
Yes, and we're gonna move on to a couple of cutouts here. Bobby Roode with Chad Gable in his corner against Ascension's Connor with Victor in his corner. Connor actually wins the match 4 minutes and 15 seconds. So very surprising indeed. I mean, that's 2 in a row now for Connor. So don't be surprised if down the road we get Roode and Gable against the Ascension. We'll probably get that next week. Then we had the B team squaring off against the Revival. B team wins that matchup. Again, no comment. So, and then a great moment here. As you know, we're in the month of October, and October, as you all know, is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And a great segment here. I mean, Charlie Caruso, you know how much I love her, and this is one of the reasons why I do. I mean, she, she handled this segment really well. And it was a great, they showed a video package about their history with the Susan G. Komen Foundation. I know it gets a lot of bad reps, and I understand that, but it was still good. I mean, Dana Warrior was there with a doctor and a fundraiser and a survivor. I mean, great moment. That's all I can say about that. So now let's get back into the action here, and what a matchup we have here. Seth Rollins, Drew McIntyre. Drew McIntyre wins the match, 11 minutes and 10 seconds. For me, this was the fight of the night. 3.5 stars. I mean, wow. Oh boy, where do I start? Great action throughout. Crowd was hot for it. Near fall after near fall. Two damn good workers. And I'm telling you, Drew McIntyre, he may be a tag team champion with Ziggler right now, but mark my words, either by the end of this year or sometime next year, Drew McIntyre is going to be a main event player on Monday Night Raw, provided he doesn't muck it up like he did over when he was on SmackDown all those years ago. I mean, they put the rocket pack on him, and then a whole lot of stuff happened, and he got devalued, and then the rest of the story. But I think and now we're finally seeing. I'm finally seeing the potential they have in him. I mean, we saw what happened in TNA. When he became a world heavyweight champion down there, he held it for a bit, and I got a great feeling about this. So, I mean, he beat Ambrose some time ago. Now he beats Rollins tonight. Who knows? Could Roman be next? That's all I can say on that. So, but like I said, either by the end of this year or sometime next year, maybe by the end of this year, I could see him taking the Intercontinental Heavyweight Championship from Seth Rollins, and getting another run with that, because he is a former Intercontinental Champion in his own right. And then, who knows, maybe next year sometime, I could see him being the Universal Champion. Sky is the limit for Drew McIntyre. And I'm telling you, he is going to be my breakout star. He's going to be my breakout star of 2019, provided he stays healthy and he keeps his nose clean, unlike his last run. But I think he's already on the verge of that. I am so damn high on Drew McIntyre right now. I think this second run has been far better than his first one. And I think the sky's the limit. There's nothing left for me to say on this. This was the fight of the night. McIntyre does it again. He beats Ambrose. Now he beats Rollins. I could see him beating Roman in a non-title bout down the road. That's all I can say. He's on his way. Watch out for Drew McIntyre within the next year, my friends. He's going to be a big player on Monday Night Raw. Believe that. MF, how do you follow that?
I can't really follow it. I'm just going to agree with everything you just said, Anthony Florio. Yeah, you said it absolutely perfect and spot on. That is the face of the WWE could be Drew McIntyre. He definitely is now in line for an Intercontinental title fight. He beat the champion tonight. I mean, for heaven's sakes, that should prompt him to be the next challenger for the IC title. And you're absolutely right. Maybe down the line, he is in line for a Universal Championship match. So we'll wait and see what happens there. Whatever the case may be, this was an amazing match. Fight of the night. I agree with that. 3.5 stars is my rating for the match. And everybody played their roles really well. So there's really nothing else to say. Didi Woodson, I'll just give it to you.
I'm going to back up just a tad bit because there was a segment right before this that's kind of significant where Strowman actually tells Dolph Ziggler that he doesn't want a weak link in his team, which I guess is what prompts Dolph to come out during the match. But he causes a distraction, but he doesn't actually interfere in any way, which is good. I mean, that we all kind of get tired of the DQ finishes. It was a good match. Wasn't super crazy about the finish, but still, you don't get too many matches that are uninterrupted that go for like 15 minutes or so. So I'm going to give it to 3.5 stars. Definitely the fight of the night. So Florio, it's yours.
And then we move on to another match that was promoted. Bobby Lashley with Lio Rush in his corner, squaring off against Kevin Owens with Elias in his corner. They had a little segment beforehand. I'm not going to really comment on that because I want to get into the match here because the match was far better than the segment. Kevin Owens actually picks up the win, 10 minutes and 50 seconds. Unfortunately, the dreaded roll-up of doom strikes again. But the one thing that, there was one thing that stood out when it came to the segment, and that is the fans broke out into a Supersonics chant. Oh, yes, indeed. I mean, that definitely brought back some memories. The Seattle Supersonics used to play in that building. Went to the NBA Finals in that building in '96 before losing to the greatest team of all time, the Bulls, in '96. MF and I know all about that, but that's a story for another day. But nonetheless, Owens over Lashley, 10 minutes and 50 seconds with the roll up. I mean, MF. I didn't really have high hopes going into this match, but this ended up being not as bad as I thought it would be. This ended up being halfway decent.
Decent because of the fact that really they kind of triggered the crowd. And that's the one thing you don't want to do. I mean, okay, give it for what it's worth. I mean, a lot of stuff has been happening. I mean, the Seattle Storm just won the WNBA championship, so congratulations to them. But as everything goes, obviously the fans are still a little triggered about it because, a lot of people loved the NBA in Seattle, even though I know a lot of people, the fan base and everything else, and there was a lot of politicking and greed and whatnot, and Elias kind of brought it up, and obviously that was why you triggered the fans. You triggered them. You went after them with the one thing that they valued the most. Obviously, you could talk about the Seahawks because they're not doing that great. You could talk about the Seattle Mariners because, their baseball season just ended. But no, you had to go with the jugular. You had to do a dirtbag move and rip them about the Seattle Supersonics, where we know how sensitive people in Seattle are about the NBA. And especially that situation, what happened. So, no, that was bad. Horrible segment. But as far as the fight goes, yeah, absolutely. This was a pleasant surprise. Nice win for Kevin Owens, a bounce back win for him. First win in God knows how long he's had. So good for him on that. 2 to 2.25 stars. Nothing more to say. Didi Woodson, I'll give it to you.
Yeah, I'll go with 2.25 stars on it. Yeah, he definitely went for the jugular. 'Cause, I'm not even going to go into the Seattle situation with the basketball team because we all know where they ended up anyway. So yeah, it was good to see KO come out on top this time around. But we all know kind of what happens when you have one winning. The law always comes into effect that they may not be the actual winner when it comes to pay-per-view. So we'll have to see what happens Saturday when we do the Australia show. So not much more I'm going to say about it. Florio, it's yours.
2.5 to 3 here. I mean, sleeper fight of the night. I had no hope going into this, but color me surprised. It ended up being, a much better match than I thought. And kudos to both men. And of course, Super Showdown, we're going to have Bobby Lashley and John Cena against Kevin Owens and Elias. So good progression for that match as well. So moving on to another cutout, we had Bayley with Finn Balor in her corner against Alicia Fox with Jinder Mahal and Sunil Singh in her corner, to preview the Mixed Match Challenge bout that's going down tomorrow. Bayley won the match, 3 minutes and 40 seconds. So, yeah, no comment there. Dud match. So, okay, the segment of the night right here. You can make an argument this was the segment of the year. Shawn Michaels, he was there. He cut a promo about what happened a couple weeks ago with The Undertaker. And then he went there. He said Taker made it personal. And then, you know, he basically had some choice words for Kane. And then all of a sudden, Kane shows up. The pyro goes off. There's Kane. Kane and HBK start going at it. And then all of a sudden, you heard it. Gong. The Undertaker. The Undertaker shows up. And just as he was going to tombstone HBK, all of a sudden, here comes Triple H. All hell breaks loose. All four men going at it. But at the end of the night, the Brothers of Destruction stand tall, laying out D-Generation X. Oh, Edie Woodson, what a way to end what was one of the better Monday Night Raws in recent memory. Wow.
Yeah, this definitely the segment of the night. And yeah, very strong showing for the brothers. Especially, you know, seeing Undertaker put Triple H in the tombstone. Both of the guys choke slamming DX at the same time. I mean, it was you know, very very good to see them all, you know, out there. This continues this little storyline that Triple H started weeks ago, trying to get us prepared for, you know, their final showdown between him and Undertaker. And, you know, we definitely got it, a little preview of it tonight. And, you know, this is one of those segments where Fletch would say, you know, shut up and take my money. So, you know, that's pretty much where I think most of us are standing after watching that segment, because, you know, we just got a not just a piece of history, but you know, a look into what's going to possibly be what will happen at this match. So, not much more I'm going to say about it. You know, awesome segment, great way to end Raw, especially after having a lousy match beforehand. So, not much more I'm going to say about it. It's yours, Florio.
Man alive, I mean, there's a reason for this. Michael Bullock read a dirt sheet recently reporting that WWE is considering doing a D-Generation X versus Brothers of Destruction tag team match at the Crown Jewel event in Saudi Arabia on November 2nd. If this is true, this will be Shawn Michaels' first match in over 8 years. Shawn Michaels has not wrestled in a match since The Undertaker retired him at WrestleMania 26. So read into that what you will. Take it with a grain of salt. So that was from Michael Bullock. He recently informed me of that recently. As for this, red hot, white hot, whatever color you want to call it, a red hot, white hot angle to close the show. The legends continue to outshine the current stars, and they have done a tremendous job of taking a match that felt cold when it was announced and turning it into something the fans seem legitimately excited by. I mean, it has a WrestleMania feel to it, a SummerSlam feel to it, a Survivor Series feel to it, a Royal Rumble feeling of it. Basically, it has the feel of a major pay-per-view. That's all I can say on that. So, what a way to close it out. I mean, the promo from HBK was one thing. Then you throw out Taker, Kane, and Hunter, and have all four men going at it to close out the show, and have the Brothers of Destruction stand tall. That might give Hunter some hope going. All you Triple H fans out there, that might give you hope going into Saturday when Triple H and the Undertaker square off. Who knows? Maybe Hunter gets over here. You never know. So we'll see what happens. But nonetheless, segment of the night. This is definitely going up there as far as segments of the year are concerned, without a doubt. So Seattle, wow, you're taking home some memories tonight. One of the better Monday Night Raws in recent memory, and this was a damn good way to close it out. So, MF, I mean, could you think of any better way to close out this Monday Night Raw tonight than having Shawn cut an incredible money promo as usual, and then having Taker, Kane, and Hunter all show up and raising hell? Oh my goodness.
Let's just take a minute and let's let's just sit back and just take the moment away from this, because what you got, guys, was something you would have seen in the Attitude Era. That was a closing of a Monday Night Raw during the Attitude Era that would have made us go absolutely bonkers. They nailed it. They nailed the segment. They nailed the closing. They nailed everything about this show. Was amazing. And this is why WWE, for all the crap that we give them, sometimes they find that little diamond in the rough. There's a moment out there that we're like, damn, you guys did good. And tonight was that night. They did really good for that. And for them, I applaud WWE because they nailed it. They nailed it to the T. And what they did was great hype, a great storyline, and they told us something unique about this fight that's going down on Saturday at the Super Showdown in Melbourne. And that's the fact, and that's the key. They played it to the core, and they played it for us. This was their nod, their homage to the Attitude Era. This is WWE kind of tipping the cap to us. You know, the true diehard wrestling fans that's been here since day one, and they know what Taker means to us, what Triple H means to us, what Shawn means to us, what Kane means to us, and they gave us that old school Monday Night Raw ending that we've been begging for, striving for, believing, trying to want, and have, and they gave it to us. Kudos to WWE for nailing this and giving us an amazing ending. And like my friend Bill McConnell said, because he posted this on Facebook, this is how Raw should end every week. Not this one time. This is how you end Raw. Period. Florio, go.
Okay. And to echo those sentiments, I couldn't agree more with McConnell there. You definitely give him that for me. So, all right. Overall thoughts on this Monday Night Raw tonight? The average pundit, believe it or not, giving this about a 6. No, this was better than a 6 tonight. I mean, we had some solid matches tonight, solid segments. Yes, we had some cutouts, whatever. But I'm giving this 7 to 7.5 tonight. I mean, one of the best go-home shows I've seen in a long time. Yes, it was for a seemingly meaningless event. I still think has the feel of a glorified house show, even though there are some good matches on there, some very good matches on that. I mean, but nonetheless, we had 4 quality, solid matches here tonight. I mean, the 3 singles matches. Rollins, McIntyre, Reigns and Ziggler, Ambrose and Strowman. I mean, Elias. I mean, Lashley and Owens had a solid match. The women's match was pretty good. The opening segment was solid. And then, of course, the segment at the end, just unbelievable. Great way to hype up the event. So I couldn't be any more pleased with this Monday Night Raw tonight. It's one of those rare times where I can actually put SmackDown Live on notice and say, okay, SmackDown Live, what do you got for us tomorrow night in Portland? So that's all I can say there. So 7 to 7.5, like I said, one of the better Raws of the year. And of course, I don't know what else there is to say. So MF, I mean, wow. All right, SmackDown Live, what do you got in store for us tomorrow?
Well, I guess we'll find out because I haven't heard much up to this point. I think they kind of realized, Raw really came out tonight, Iron. So I know the boys in Team Blue definitely got something up their sleeve. First off, we're probably gonna start with something uncomfortable. I kind of got a feeling Aiden English might throw the cat out of the bag, and we're probably going to find out that one night in Milwaukee bit. Thank God, Didi, you weren't here last week, because that kind of could have gotten us into some big time trouble, especially with you. So we'll see. And then, of course, we got AJ Styles and Samoa Joe thing. As everybody knows, Joe made that trip to Gainesville, Georgia. So who knows what the hell happened there. So we got that. We got the Aiden English thing. And I'm probably guessing you're gonna see more build towards the Super Showdown, especially on the SmackDown side of it. So we'll see what happens. It's gonna be an interesting show, but tonight, Monday Night Raw, take a bow, guys. You really nailed this. 7 for me. I'm gonna give this between 7.25 to 7.5 out of 10. This was by far one of the best Raws we've had. Maybe I'll even go as far to say probably the best Raw of the year, as in my opinion. So other than that, nothing more to say. Didi Woodson, I'll give it to you.
Just to inform you, yes, I watched SmackDown, so I know about this Milwaukee thing. I don't know what to say about it yet, so I'll have to wait till tomorrow. Yeah, okay. I'm gonna give it probably 7.25 for Raw tonight. It was a very good Raw tonight. For a change, we had a lot of storyline progression, a lot of looking forward to Saturday. Of course, the announcers hyped Saturday quite a bit. If you're in, our time zone, the Eastern time zone, and you want to watch it live, make sure you're up at 5 o'clock in the morning. If you're on the Pacific time zone, stay up till 2 a.m. because that's when it's going to start. Otherwise, you'll watch it Memorex, which is probably what I'll end up doing because I don't plan on getting up at 5 a.m. But yeah, a lot of storyline progression, a lot of hype for this pay-per-view. And it's funny, you get one of these little B-rated pay-per-views, and Raw brings it for that. But when you get a major pay-per-view like SummerSlam or Hell in a Cell, they give you something very cheap and lousy, So it's really odd how they're handling the pay-per-view situation with Raw. I'll agree with Fletch. This could be a candidate for, the Raw of the year since most of the Raws have been really sucky. So, not much more I'm going to say about it. I hopefully will see you guys tomorrow. Good night.
All right, night, Dee. It was nice to see you. I'm glad we got to have you here tonight. So take your mind off things, and I'm glad we could help out with that. So, well,
yeah.
We'll hopefully see you. We'll hopefully see you whenever the Cerebral Smack Talk is, whether it's tomorrow or Wednesday. MF will set the table for that at the end, so we'll pass it on to you. So, with all that being said, Michael Bullock, come on in. Let's get you caught up on this edition of Monday Night Raw this evening. Glad you could make it. Let's get you caught up here. So, 2-for-1 deal. We had Dean Ambrose, an interview segment with Charlie Caruso, interrupted by Baron Corbin, and then it turned into a match with Dean Ambrose against Braun Strowman, which Dean Ambrose won by, or I should say Braun Strowman won by disqualification in 13 minutes and 55 seconds. Shield interference as usual. So your thoughts on all that, quickly?
Yeah, I mean, I thought the segment was good for what it was at the beginning. I mean, Dean Ambrose clearly stating that he's standing by with his brothers, the Shield, of course, for that big showdown with Braun Strowman, Dolph Ziggler, and Drew McIntyre this Saturday at Super Showdown. And as far as the match goes, I'll give it about 3 stars. I mean, it was fine for what it was, but the thing is, I mean, the DQ finish did take away a little bit from it, but it does continue the build as we go into Saturday. So nothing more to say for it. What's yours?
And then we had Roman Reigns against Dolph Ziggler. Roman Reigns wins the match, 12 minutes and 40 seconds.
Again, I'll give it about a 3 to maybe even a 3.25 star match. So, yeah, I mean, it was once again good for what it was during the amount of time it did get. So, yeah, nothing more to say. Let's just move right along.
Ronda Rousey against Ruby Riott. Ronda Rousey wins it in 6 minutes and 50 seconds.
I'll give it about 2 stars for the effort, but yeah, so yeah, there's really nothing more that needs to be said. Let's just move right along.
Couple cutouts, and then we move on. Drew McIntyre defeating Seth Rollins in 11 minutes and 10 seconds.
I'll give this another 3-star match. I mean, again, another build to that 6-man tag team match. So again, nothing more to say. Let's just move right along.
Kevin Owens over Bobby Lashley in 10 minutes and 50 seconds.
2.5 stars for the effort here. So obviously, you want to get Bobby Lashley over. Obviously, with the big tag team match at Super Showdown, of course, Bobby Lashley will be teaming with the returning John Cena to take on Kevin Owens and Elias. So, yeah, nothing more to say. Let's move right along.
Another cutout, but then the segment of the night, the segment of the year. You called this, Bo. You saw this coming from a mile away. We knew Shawn Michaels was going to be there, but then you called it. Kane showed up. The Undertaker showed up. Triple H showed up. All hell breaks loose. Go.
Damn, I mean, this was, like you said, segment of the night, segment of the year. I mean, what can you say? I mean, when you got all 4 of these men in the same ring, I mean, that's just awesome. I mean, Shawn Michaels cutting a promo, and then all of a sudden, Kane's music plays, and then the big red machine shows up out of nowhere, goes after Shawn Michaels. Then the Undertaker shows up, and when it looks like the Brothers of Destruction were going to take out Shawn Michaels, out comes the Game Triple H, but he suffers a double choke slam. Well, and then of course Triple H gets a tombstone at the end. So yeah, this is the match everybody's talking about. Everyone's going to be looking forward to. I mean, you've heard the superstars from SmackDown Live talk about it. I mean, from up and down the line, like Paige, Samoa Joe, Sheamus, The Miz, the Good Brothers, Carl Anderson, and Luke Gallows. I mean, this has been the big build, guys, and I'm certainly looking forward to Saturday night or Saturday morning. Looking forward to this showdown. First time since WrestleMania 28, and whew, this is one I'm definitely going to have the most interest in. But then again, all the eyes of the world are going to be glued in to this one big match. And you know this match is going to close the show. No doubt about it.
It better. With all the hype this thing's been getting, it better close the show. That's all.
I mean, I don't think it's going to be a 5-star classic, but
no,
you never know. But you never know. I mean, they could pull the roof from under us and give us that 5-star classic that we've seen in the past with these two.
Well, it will depend on Shawn Michaels and Kane outside the ring. That's all there is to say there. So.
Although, I mean, with that, I got a feeling that's not going to end cleanly.
And it could set up that tag team match that you reported. I mean, you reported that to me. You read it during
that's I think it is going to set up that match at Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia come next month with the Brothers of Destruction against D-Generation X. And then, Florio, to add another thing, there's another rumor I heard. I don't know if you gotten a hold of this.
Try me.
I heard that we could get The Undertaker and HBK one more time. And you want to know when that's going to go down?
WrestleMania 35?
Nope.
No?
It could happen as soon as Survivor Series.
Well, Survivor Series is in Los Angeles this year, so Staples Center. Oh, if we end up
Now, this is just a rumor right now from what I've been hearing.
Yes, it is. Of course, that is a rumor.
And of course, as Derek Ferrer would say, take it with a grain of salt. And as you would like to say, read into it what you will.
Yeah.
So great way to close out the show. And as far as the overall thoughts on the show, I'll give it about a 7 out of 10. Great way for the Raw side to pretty much put a close on the go home to the Super Showdown edition of Monday Night Raw. And now it's going to be interesting to see how SmackDown Live will counter tomorrow night.
We'll find out soon enough. So, all right, now let's get into my Tony's Take here. 205 Live. Started it off with Lio Rush against Noam Dar. Lio Rush wins the match 8 minutes and 5 seconds. 3-star match. Good back and forth opener with Rush being taken to the limit for overcoming to stay undefeated. Brian Kendrick squashed some loser in 11 seconds. No comment there, but then great match here. Hideo Itami against Mustafa Ali. Hideo, actually, it ended in a double count out. 16 minutes and 24 seconds. Even with the double count out finish, which is usually frowned upon on this show, I'm still giving it 3.5 stars. This was still very good stuff with Itami looking to beat respect into Ali again, while Ali was willing to do anything to prove himself and get revenge. The feud will likely continue in some sort of stipulation bout, which I'm okay with, without a doubt. Wednesday night on the show, TJP will square off against Kalisto, and Akira Tozawa will square off against Gentleman Jack Gallagher. So two more great main events coming up on 205 Live. 7.25 out of 10. I mean, another good show with good wrestling, matches for next week, and some hype for the Super Showdown Cruiserweight title match with Cedric Alexander and Buddy Murphy. So nothing more to say there. Let's move on to Impact Wrestling as we continue on the road to Bound for Glory, which is in a couple of weeks. Man, already. Unbelievable. From Mexico, episode 2 of the 4-week tapings in Mexico. I'm hoping that MF's been watching because I know how much MF loves his Mexican wrestling. We all know that. So we started it off with a Knockouts Championship match. Tessa Blanchard defending against Fabi Apache. Tessa Blanchard successfully defends the title in 5.5 minutes. A short but good match. This was 3 stars. I mean, I expected Tessa to win, but I was surprised that she beat Triple A's champion so quickly and clean. It's great for Tessa, but a bit surprising for me. But then after the match, Taya Valkyrie, Lucha Royalty, or as MF calls her, Talia Vicarine, she shows up and she issued the challenge. He says, Tessa, I want to face you for the Knockouts Championship at Bound for Glory. And Tessa says, you're on, honey. So it's on, boys. Having Taya challenge in Mexico makes sense due to her history there. And I love that they're setting up another pay-per-view match. But like Taya's husband, Johnny Impact's challenge, it came up a little bit cold and flat. But it doesn't make all that much sense as Taya has not really been around for a long while and didn't really do anything to deserve the title shot. She might just be the challenger of the month here for Tessa Blanchard. So nothing more to say here. Brian Cage against Jake Crist. Brian Cage wins in 4 minutes and 40 seconds. 2.5 stars. A solid match to advance the 6-man feud ahead for Bound for Glory. Good addition with the post-match. And then LAX against the Desi Hit Squad. LAX wins in 7 minutes and 20 seconds. 2.5 stars. A solid tag match that started off well, but the crowd lost interest when the Hit Squad took control. Despite LAX pulling out all of their signature fun stuff, no one, including me, cares about the Desi Hit Squad, who continues to only exist as warm bodies to occupy TV space we need. They're basically filler guys. That's all there is to say there. And then from there, Allie and Kiera Hogan against Su Yung and the Undead Maid of Honor. Allie and Kiera Hogan winning in about 7 minutes. Yeah, this was okay. It was just a 2-star match. It was all right overall. Never got out of first gear, and it felt rather flat despite Kiera Hogan picking up a big win. And then the main event, Johnny Impact and Eddie Edwards against Moose and Killer Kross. Moose and Killer Kross win the match 16 minutes, 25 seconds. 3 stars. Overall good match. A bit flat in the middle, but overall did a good job of advancing the Moose and Edwards angle. 7 out of 10. While there was nothing really must-see, this show felt like an improvement over recent weeks. Tessa is now locked into a Bound for Glory match against Taya. King cut a killer promo and they advanced OVE and Cage against the OVE versus Cage and the Lucha Brothers, as well as Moose and Eddie Edwards. They advanced both of those angles well. They did a nice job of setting up matches for next week. It still feels like something is missing in the build for Bound for Glory, but the show is remaining solid and consistent. Thursday night on Impact Wrestling, we got Mexican legend La Parka squaring off against Eli Drake. Rich Swann will go up against Matt Sydal. Katarina's new guy, the Murder Clown, will be in action, or some sort of an angle with Joe Henry. Su Yung will square off against Kiera Hogan. And Johnny Impact is going to have an in-ring segment calling out Austin Aries. All hell will break loose with that. So that's Thursday night at 8 on Pop Television. Check your local listings. So Ridiculously Raw for this week in the books. But before we wrap it up, I'm gonna bring in MF real quick to set the table for the next edition of Cerebral Smack Talk. So, all right, MF, you know the question. Tomorrow or Wednesday, when are we doing it?
First off, tomorrow night, 10 p.m. Eastern.
Good.
So immediately after SmackDown Live is over, we will talk about SmackDown Live. And I also got some RWA news. Fatal Impact went down. New champions crowned. That's the key word, guys. New champions were crowned on Saturday night. Who are they? How did it happen? You're just going to have to wait and find out. As always, 10 p.m. Eastern on Braves Fan 95, immediately following SmackDown Live. Until then, have a good night, everybody. Anthony, take it home.
Lucha Underground in your review as well, right, MF? The Lucha Underground, I'm sure you're getting...
As always, yes, I actually foregone it, but yeah, everybody knows Lucha Underground is always covered as well. So yes, Lucha Underground is also a part of the show as well.
All right, just wanted to be sure on that. All right, so that's all tomorrow night at 10, the SmackDown Live review, and then MF will give us Lucha Underground and of course that RWA show. Looking forward to hearing all about that. So that's tomorrow night at 10, immediately following SmackDown Live. And then we're off on Wednesday, and then Thursday, time to be determined. We'll probably determine that tomorrow night. We'll sleep on it tonight, and then we'll determine it tomorrow night. College football Thursday. Week number 6 already. My goodness, this thing's been flying off the hinges already. The headliner, obviously, the Red River rivalry, Texas and Oklahoma. That's the big game of the week right there, far and away. Some other okay matchups as well, but that's the big one right there. And then our newest power poll, and then NFL Friday night. We'll get into all the NFL action. Week number 5. Some great matchups. We'll get into all of that in our newest power rankings. And that's pretty much it. Unless something else comes down the pipeline. So that's it. So until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk, it's your ridiculously over good brother Anthony Florio here for good old MF Michael Fletcher, for the Phenom Michael Bullock, and in spirit the Twisted Angel Edie Woodson, and Bullet Club Soldier 445 Derek Ferreira. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah. Throw it up Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Tuesday. And until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk, you will watch it Ridiculously Raw right here on the Tone25YouTube.com. And remember, no matter what anyone tells you, wrestling is indeed actually real. For everybody who's been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long. Bye, everybody. Bye.